Welcome to Brad's Beer Reviews. We are here with a special edition video, if you want to call it that. I think I'm going to call these a beer with Brad. It's going to be a little different than the videos that I've done in the past, and hopefully you'll let me know if you like them by slapping that like button, that like button, and I'll know if I need to keep doing them or not, or if this is a complete disaster. But the idea behind this video is not to actually review a beer, so I'm not going to be giving you details on a beer. What I'm going to be doing is I'm actually going to be drinking a beer that I have previously reviewed, so I guess you could call it a revisit if you would like. We're going to see what I think about it on the second go around, and other than that, I just kind of want to talk to you guys, let you get to know me a little bit, and we'll just more relaxed, I guess is what you'll say what this is. You'll notice we're in a different location. We're in my man cave, and I don't have it set up the way that I would like. When I get it set up that way, I'm actually start doing the reviews in here. I've got a pretty neat beer LED sign that I just haven't got put up yet, and I think it would make for an interesting background. But anyway, I've already got the beer poured. We are actually going to be revisiting the Samuel Adams Nitro Coffee Stout, and if you go back in my videos, you can see where I reviewed it, and I just raved about this beer. The video ended up going on almost 20 minutes because I was so excited about the beer, and I had one more of these left after giving one to my dad and one to my friend JJ so they could check it out, and we're going to see if I still like it as much. I'm going to go ahead and take a drink, and then we'll just kind of chit-chat, if that's alright. Very good, very creamy. It's exactly how it was last time. Faint chocolate, coffee, but like I said, we're not here to review the beer. Just want to chit chat with you guys. I took a couple of extra days off of work this week, which is not something that I normally do, but we weren't able to go on vacation this year, unfortunately, and I had the time off saved up enough to where I could justify it. So I took today and tomorrow off, and I'm already off on the weekends. So I got a 4-day weekend, and I'm excited about that. I actually started off my morning playing a video game that I just bought last week called Life is Strange for the PS4. And if you haven't heard about it and you're into video games, go check that out. It's what I would call like a point-and-click kind of adventure. You're playing this character named Max Caulfield, who is very into photography. And without giving too much away, you're kind of going through her day-to-day life and learning about this power that you've recently discovered that you have where you can rewind time. Very interesting concept. Exactly the kind of game that I would have loved to have had when I was younger. I've always been fascinated with kind of real-life scenarios, even though obviously none of us have the ability to rewind time, but you know what I mean. Playing life through somebody else's eyes, for some reason, has always appealed to me, but I don't remember having a whole lot of games like this when I was younger. Of course, my game knowledge and my game interest was very narrow at the time, and I play more now as a 32-year-old than I did as a child. But anyway, so that's what I spent several hours this morning doing, and I'm planning on going back to that after we do this video. If you're into video games, leave me a comment below. Tell me what you're playing, what kind of games you like, what one of your favorite games is of all time, whatever. We'll do that here on these discussion videos until I get everything together to start off the second channel that you heard me mention before, where I'm going to discuss video games and movies and music and things like that more in depth. One thing that I wish that I could do on videos like this that I cannot do because YouTube is more strict than what I've heard they used to be many years ago, is I would like to have some music lightly playing in the background because you guys have heard me mention before that one of my favorite things to do is sit around and drink a beer and listen to music, and I would like to do that on these videos, but I don't want to get a copyright ding, so we're not even going to try. I don't think it'd be worth the hassle. I'm a big classic country music fan. Merle Haggard, Hank Williams Jr., even though with Hank Jr. you could debate whether he was classic country. But I consider him classic country because it's what I grew up listening to. And I tend to like his stuff from the 70s and 80s and some of the 90s, more 70s and 80s stuff than I do anything he's done since then. Merle Haggard is a big favorite of mine. I was devastated when he passed away in April of this year. I am glad to say that I got to see him in concert twice before he passed, and I actually had tickets to see him for a third time, and he had to cancel because he was sick, and unfortunately he passed away not too long after that. But I'm glad that I got a chance to see him. It's good memories, and he's got such an amazing voice, such a great songwriter. I know my wife would disagree; she can't stand that kind of music, but we won't hold that against her too much. Still enjoying this beer, guys. It may not be as bold as it was, because I think it was actually going out of date when I bought it, and I've had it probably a month or close to it now. So, but it's still very enjoyable, just how I like my stouts. Very creamy. I don't want carbonation, and you've heard me say that several times. So this fits the bill. Lacing is nice and pretty. I just love that look on a beer glass. Well, you can kind of see them up here. Before the camera started recording and zoomed in on me, you could see the paintings real good in the back, and that's kind of why I wanted to sit here, so that's a little disappointing. And I would take them off the wall and show you, but you have such a hard time getting them to stay even up there. I'm not going to touch them, but these paintings that you half see behind me are paintings my wife painted. The blue there is a Spider-Man, and this yellow here is Wolverine. And right over this way, I've got a Captain America and a Hulk, and she painted all of those and bought me this shirt and 2 or 3 more, and Age of Ultron on Blu-ray. That was my Father's Day gift this year. She's very creative, and she knows what I like. I'm a big kid at heart. I love anything comic book inspired, which is ironic because I didn't grow up reading them. I'm sure that I would have enjoyed them, but it's just not something that I was exposed to at the time. So my introduction to that kind of fantasy world came around the time that, and I know these are completely different types of movies, but the reason I can kind of feel like I can kind of lump them together is because it is all fantasy realm. It was probably honestly around the time that Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring came out. I just thought that was a beautiful movie. And then also somewhere around that time, and I could have had my time frames off a little bit, was when the first Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire came out, and I was hooked. Of course, I do remember watching the original Batman with Michael Keaton back when I was a child, but I don't know how much I watched it. My parents might know, but my point is that whole genre was not something that I got into and appreciated until I actually became an adult. And now I'm just kind of hanging on to childhood, I guess, because I just love that stuff. I eat it up. There's a few movies that I'm behind on. The new Captain America, I still need to see that one. I need to see Suicide Squad. Hopefully I'll be able to buy those on Blu-ray here pretty soon. But now you get an idea of what kind of things that I'm into. What I was going to say when I started talking about music earlier is I've actually been listening to more rock here lately. Metallica, AC/DC. I like Rush, thanks to my dad. Rush now, it always makes me think of that movie, I Love You Man, with Paul Rudd, and I can never think of that guy's name, but he's hilarious. If you haven't seen that, check it out, and you'll understand why they make me think of Rush when you watch it. I hope you're enjoying this, guys. I'm just wanted to talk a little bit and drink this beer. And like I said, if you think these videos are cool and you want me to keep doing them every so often, maybe once a month, hit that like button, comment, let me know, and we'll keep doing them. And I'll try to talk about some different stuff each time I do them. Just to give you a little bit of background on me, since we're kind of jumping all over the place, I've mentioned before I am 32 years old. I actually work in customer service, and I've worked in customer service. Well, it'll be 9 years this August. Before that, which I've only had 2 jobs in my lifetime, but before that I worked in an inbound call center where we made calls to people's homes and their businesses, raising money for different nonprofit organizations like Special Olympics. And I started at that job when I was just shy of 18 years old, and made a whopping, it may have been $6.25 an hour, but I'm thinking it was $6 an hour. And that was 12 or 13 years ago, and it's sad that minimum wage has not raised any more than it has. I know it's under $8 an hour now, so it hasn't went up that much over the last 12 years. But I did pretty much everything that you could do at that job, and in August of 2008 I was just burned out. And despite my bosses at the time, I don't want to say begging me because that makes me sound like I'm something special, and I don't think that's the case. But they tried to convince me not to leave, and I thought about staying, but I just had to go. It was the only job that I'd had, and I'd been there 5 or 6 years. And I just had to go. And so I took a chance on a company that I had never heard of before that had started an office in my hometown. And that opened a door to let me start working from home. And that's what I'm doing now, and I really do enjoy it. If you want to hear more about that, we can talk about it later. Let me know. If you got questions for me you'd like for me to answer, I'll send those in. You can either comment in the video below, or you can tweet me at BradH84, and I'll be glad to answer some questions. Some other things about me, of course, you know I'm married. I've mentioned my wife in this video and videos before, and she hopes to be on the channel someday. I've got a 4-month-old daughter. It's just, words can't describe it. I tell her all the time, even though I don't know if she understands me yet, that I dreamed about her before she was ever here, or before I ever knew that she was actually going to be here at all. I went through a period I didn't know that I was going to get married or have a kid. Not because I didn't want to, but because I didn't know if it was in the cards for me. And that's a whole different discussion. But nonetheless, even during that time that I didn't know if it would ever be something that I could experience, I always wanted a baby girl. And so she's just made me so happy. And I can't wait to watch her grow up. And maybe one day I'll introduce her to you guys. Let's see, what else? My wife and I just bought our first home a few months ago, and we're very happy with that. That's something else I never thought that I would have, is my own home. I actually lived with my parents for most of my life, actually until I moved out to get married. And so I was 30 at the time, and for some of you out there, you probably think, what a lame-o, living with his parents till he was 30, but I was content, and I told my sister and my dad that if I hadn't got married, I'd probably still be living there. And I know that's not popular with some people, but life's about being happy, and I've never been the type that wanted to live on his own, so you might as well stay with family if you're not going to have a family of your own. And so that was my plan. I didn't know that this was all going to happen for me, but God saw fit to give it to me, and I'm thankful. Let's see. I don't know what else that I can tell you at this point, guys, but like I said, I'll be glad to answer questions. I hope you enjoyed the video. I can say that the A rating that I gave this beer in my review still stands today. I think the only complaint that I do have about it is I do wish it had a little bit more body. It is a little watery, but I'm not going to complain too much. because I've had some stouts that did not taste like a stout to me because they were so heavily carbonated. So I guess you gotta have it one way or another, right? Got a couple more sips here and then we'll end this video. While I got you here, I guess I could let you know that I will be taking part in a YouTube series that's going to be going on. It starts later this evening and we'll be going through the 25th. I don't know why I'm pointing behind me, but it'll be going through the 25th, and you can find that on Gary and Amita Hardwick's vlogs, and I'll actually leave a link in the description box below. Not going to give you any details right now because I'm curious how it's all going to come together myself. But I'll just let you know you're not going to see me in the videos, but I do have a role in the videos, and I'm curious to see how Gary chose to use me. So make sure you check those guys out. I've said before on my social media, I don't know if I've ever mentioned them on here, but Gary and Almeida are two of the most genuine people that I've ever had the pleasure of coming in contact with, and they do a lot of vlogs just telling you about their day. They pull pranks on each other, and they do challenges, and they put up inspirational videos, and I really enjoy them. And they gave me a shout out yesterday and actually gained me a couple more subscribers, so thank you guys for that. But even if they hadn't, guys, I mean what I said. They're two genuine people, and they put out entertaining content, in my opinion. So you should go check them out if you like that kind of stuff. I think it's really neat that YouTube brings people together and that we can all just kind of do what we do, and people seem to like it. And so definitely go check them out, and I'm thankful to know them. One more sip, guys. Trying to think of some other things that I could tell you about me. Hopefully some of you will send in some questions, and so I'll maybe give me suggestions about what you'd like me to talk about next time I do this video. And I will take that into consideration. I would like to keep doing these if you like watching them. Alright, we came to the end of the beer, guys. So this was episode 1 of what I think I'll call a beer with Brad. I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe you didn't because I kind of rambled, but if you liked it, let me know. And thank you for watching. I will be back probably this weekend with another review. And I hope you guys have a great weekend. See you later.